This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
All right, sorry about that. Little technical issues getting us up there, but hey, we're back. C2C is back. Sorry for the little delay with the shows. Not feeling good. Work and appointments kept us from doing this, but we are back. I'm joined as usual with my good friend halfway around the world, Tim Pryme Use. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I don't know where you're heading this show off, but I'm gonna start it off on a good note. A friend of the show, friend of the group. It's his 39th birthday today. When I saw he was 39, it kind of freaked me out. I thought he was older than me for a minute.
Yeah.
I wish a happy birthday to Sarge. So that gives you the honorary, the dishonor, the honor of linking the bad news.
What bad news do we got?
About the losses that we had.
Yeah. But happy birthday to Sarge. I thought he was older. But yeah, a couple of tragic passings since we last did our show. Gene Hackman, great actor. I liked him in Hoosiers. I don't know. I know he played a couple other iconic roles. And then, of course, George Foreman. What can we say about that guy? Hell of a boxer. Top 5 for sure. Most people's Mount Rushmore. So we plan on doing a show probably for both those guys down the road, but we're going to finish up with our little sports decade players of the top 5 greatest players. We're going to finish off with basketball here. And then, of course, we got our good blind ranking. I've been seeing a lot of good ones on social media that I've been kind of taking away. So stealing, call me the Dragon Viper of the group, I guess, stealing other people's bits.
So we're gonna see how much Dragon Viper steals from this show for Friday.
Yeah, exactly. So with that being said, let's go to the 80s, our childhood, for the basketball top 5. Again, some people might debate that this person should have been in this decade or that decade. There's no right or wrong answers. So, how many do you think we're going to get there?
I remember how we've done these last shows where I haven't doubled up in the top 5 of anything.
Yeah.
The 80s I top 5. I doubled up on a spot.
Yeah, I thought about it too, and I was just like,
I hadn't done it.
A good one. I really think we're going to go 5 for 5 in this one. Especially since you doubled up.
I doubled up. I think 5 for 5 is really possible. Yeah. I kind of have a slight curveball at one of mine at number 5, but I think to be safe, I think 4 is probably a good play.
Probably 4 is safe, but I'm kind of interested to see what your curveball is at number 5. So let's go ahead and kick it off. NBA's top 5 in our minds of the 80s.
I think in the 80s, I think of this center really early in the 80s. He's one of the first players that really started. You didn't hear much of what he did until I think it was kind of along the lines of Kevin Garnett and Kobe Bryant and LeBron James all had missed college. This was the first guy that I remember ever hearing of doing that. But, I remember him playing center for the 76ers. I absolutely I enjoyed him, and I thought it was a little disappointing that him and Julius Erving and Charles Barkley never won a championship in Philadelphia, because it was such a strong, powerful triplet team. And he was a pain in the ass down in the paint for a lot of years. My number 5 is the 76ers center, Moses Malone.
That's a good one. You talk about players going from high school to college. I keep forgetting Moses Malone is like the first one. Because to me, I think Sean Kemp. Went from high school to college.
Sean Kemp, I think, went to college. Yeah, I think the one I always remember hearing from is always Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, Garnett's like restarted it, but I thought Kemp did play college ball.
I think he did, but I think he played Division II ball.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
Go ahead. Go ahead with your 5 while I take a look.
Yeah. Well, my number 5, yes, I will go with the local homer pick here. Boston Celtic, great former coach of the Timberwolves. I think he did a stint in Houston, I think, as a coach. But I'm going with Minnesota's own Kevin McHale.
I will give you. I will bow down to you, Kevin. That Sean Kemp didn't go to college.
Okay. All right.
But Kevin McHale, Kevin McHale is a good one. I think because of what he meant to the Celtics team in the '80s. Yeah, it's kind of hard not to put him on this list. Looking at all the people that played in the '80s, it was hard to keep people off this list. So yeah, I can see why you doubled up. So you're number 4. My number 4 is a teammate of my number 5. I kind of brought him up, but I think the guy that, Michael Jordan will say I can't remember, David Thompson, I think I want to say Marcus Johnson from the Bucks was the guy that taught him how to really taught him how to dunk. But if you really, 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 really want, there's a reason why the guy is the doctor himself, and it's what between his time in the ABA and the NBA. Again, I said, how does he not win a title with Charles Barkley and Moses Malone? It's absolutely crazy. My number 4 is Julius Erving.
Yeah, that's another good one. I'm going to go with my number 4. Laker great. I think we're going to see a lot of Lakers on these lists. Center, I think if I remember right, in other shows, he got traded from Milwaukee to the Lakers.
Yep, he got traded from Milwaukee to the Lakers for another person who had just passed away, for Junior Bridgman.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I got
and the funny thing is, my brother worked for Junior Bridgman.
Really?
Yep.
I got number 4, Mr. Kareem.
Yeah, you would. I didn't even. I think I'm bitter. I think I'm bitter about Kareem myself because he didn't want to play in Milwaukee. And see, there's a difference. There's Milwaukee's Lou Alcindor, and then there's the Los Angeles Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, that is true.
But no, that's a good. It's a good pick. I can't argue that. One of them, my number 3 is a guy that had turned around the Detroit Pistons with him and Chuck Daly. I think you put him on such a stacked team, and there would be people going, "What are you talking about, stacked team?" They had Joe Dumars, they had Bill Laimbeer, they had John Sally, they had Vinnie Johnson, they had, you name it. That team was stacked, and you gave him the right coach, and and there's still days where this guy still cries over the fact is that he wasn't on the 1992 Dream Team. I don't care because he pissed off Michael Jordan. I'm sorry, but the guy that really made Michael Jordan mad, they had play on his team later on and got him 3 more championships. So I don't think that was it. And then there was another one by the same name who played for the Boston Celtics later on. But to me, I think was probably the quintessential. He's the second point guard in the 80s. To me, my number 3 is the Detroit Pistons point guard, Isaiah Thomas.
And honestly, he does. I mean, you put feelers aside, he does have a gripe about not being on the dream team.
Oh, he does.
I mean, if you're going to put together the best athletes in the NBA or for basketball that year, to have Christian Laettner on there and not Isaiah or anybody else.
Well, the thing is, my this would be a great, and this would be a great roundtable debate. You don't put Christian Laettner on. You want it, okay, and you want it, and the thing is, I understood Chuck Daly wanted. Chuck Daly has more say on that.
Well, yeah,
on that team than Michael Jordan did, and they wanted to put a college player, at least one college player, on the roster, right? So you went with Christian Laettner. Why do you not go with Shaquille O'Neal? Because because Shaquille at the time I think was a sophomore at LSU, and Laettner was a senior at Duke.
Yeah, but no. Well, Shaq came out early there because he got drafted.
Shaq came out early, but it's like, how do you not put Shaq?
You're right. That is a good debate. I mean, if they wanted one college player, but Laettner, I think, was player of the year that year. So
yeah,
who
would you? This is the bigger question: is who do you replace on that roster? Who do you take out of that roster to put Isaiah Thomas on? You're taking John Stockton off? Are you taking Chris Mullin off? Are you taking who are you taking off on that roster?
Yeah, that's a good choice. If you can't take Laettner off or a college player off, yeah, who do you take off of there? I mean, I guess well, you need 2 centers, but so you don't take a center off.
You had Robinson and
Ewing, right?
Yeah, you had Robinson and Ewing.
Yeah, so you don't take one of them off.
So you're taking a power forward. You're taking a power forward off with when you take Laettner off. So you take power forward off. You've got Karl Malone already at that spot.
Yeah.
And
well, the thing is, your college guy that was proven is not going to see much time. I think Laettner saw 17 minutes. But yeah,
I think he got the bulk of his time. I think it was like 5 minutes in the finals.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, but anyway, so I'm going to go with my number 3. I think he turned around his Atlanta Hawks. The guy could dunk like nobody else. Dominique Wilkins.
How did I miss Dominique? Dominique? I remember the was it the slam dunk competitions where the years that Michael Jordan wasn't in, Dominique wins. The years Michael Jordan was in, Dominique didn't go in.
Yep. Well, that's the thing nowadays. You don't get that competition like that.
Right. Exactly.
All right, you're number 2.
My number 2, I'm thinking, is starting to become pretty obvious at this point. Even though he was drafted in '84, everybody keeps second guessing that the Portland Trailblazers should have drafted him in number 1 pick, and instead they went with Sam Bowie. No, the number 2 pick, because I think that was the year that Hakeem came out too. It was Hakeem was number 1 at the Rockets, but Sam Bowie goes number 2. The thing is, what most people don't remember is that the Portland Trailblazers didn't need us. They didn't need a shooting guard because they already had Clyde Drexler. Keep people, and they needed the center because at that time they were replacing Bill Walton, if I'm not mistaken. But you saw what he did in the finals in '84. You saw what he did. You look at the numbers he had in his second year in the league when he came out when he was hurt. His numbers were already putting him in first team All NBA. This guy, and the funny thing, he's going to be number 2 on this list, and there's a reason for number 2 on this list because of what number 1 looks like. This is a guy who's in the running for greatest of all time. To me, it's hands down. Number 2 for me is Michael Jordan.
Good pick there. I did not put him in the 80s. But my number 2, and I'm guessing this is going to be your number 1, 1A, 1B, because you said you had a double up. But and we're in March Madness, and this is where the rivalry started, and this is where they got the notoriety. I'm going with arguably
Which way are you going? Which one? This is
the
the funny one.
greatest Laker.
Oh, you went that way.
I'm going with Magic Johnson.
Yeah, I gotta give you a half a snipe on that. Like you said, we're nose deep in the NCAA tournament. The between Indiana, everybody knows Indiana State and Michigan State, the 76, I want to say 76 NCAA tournament.
Something like that.
It's 76 because I think they all came out in the 78 draft. Because for some reason, I don't know what the world draft deal was then, but and you know, usually that stuff gets kind of gets lost in the weeds when they come out. No, it just seemed like they picked up right where they left off by facing each other in NBA finals after NBA finals after NBA finals. Yeah, I've got Magic Johnson as my 1A, and well, if we all know anything about the greatest one-on-one rivalry in NBA history, everybody knows my 1 and B is Larry Bird.
Yep. My number 1 is part of your number 1. You know, Larry Bird, I mean, that rivalry, like you said, started in the, NCAA, went into the, NBA, went into, probably their personal life too, trying to one out each other. Yeah. So, great. If you watch any documentaries on those two, I mean, great friends off the court.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we got 2. So let's go into the 90s. Again, another great list of players we could choose from. Of course, you already know where one of mine is, and
yeah,
I'm going to go 3. I think we're going to hit 3 here.
Yeah, I like your 3. I really do.
All right. So I will start off at number 5. As a matter of fact, me and you saw this draft together in Michigan, where your team took Chris Webber, my team took a kid out of high school to become the greatest Minnesota Timberwolf of all time. Hopefully his number gets retired here this year now that Taylor's out of the mix. And that's one Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, I remember that draft. I think that was the year. I keep trying to remember that year. Yeah, I think we only watched that. I think the only reason why we watched that draft was to see if Garnett was going to go to Minnesota, because we all knew that Weber was going to Golden State. Or no, he went to Orlando.
It might have just been out where just kicking it around the house and the draft was on.
Well, the thing is, the funny thing was that Weber got drafted by Orlando.
Yep,
and then got traded to Golden State.
Yep, and they got traded for Penny.
Yeah. That's an underrated guy. If there's ever if the guy whose career would have been a lot better if he never got hurt.
Yep. All right, you're number 5.
My number 5, I kind of alluded to him in the Dream Team conversation. Who do you take out? One half of, and I should have, and to be honest, I should have put both of them on here. And it's my own fault. Problem was he played Michael Jordan in the finals twice. Lost to Michael Jordan in the finals twice, and it's sad. Goes to Los Angeles to play for a year to try to pick up a NBA championship with Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and still can't win a championship. Yeah. But he's got a gold medal. And then I watched an auction series on Netflix, and I think I've told you the story where in his car dealership he actually had at one point all the jerseys of the Dream Team autographed, nice. shirt, shorts, warm-ups, shoes, all autographed, and Then he turned around and sold them. He's like, somebody else can have fun with these. I'm okay.
Yeah.
But this guy was a powerhouse. I don't know if I'd want to stand in the lane when this guy's coming through, and to have a great nickname like and everybody on my list has a nickname. So this is, but to have this nickname, it's crazy. And he had a dangerous dunk. I wouldn't want to be underneath there waiting for him to come down the lane. My number 5 is the mailman himself, Karl Malone.
Yeah, him going to the Lakers to try to chase that ring, one just shows you it just doesn't happen.
Right.
But 2, I'm actually kind of glad he did not get that ring.
Yeah.
Because it would have just been one big slap in the face. So yeah. So my number 4, I'm going with the big guy for the Nuggets who upset, I think it was Seattle, the first 8 team to take down the 1 team in the playoffs. I remember him laying on the ground holding the ball, but every time he swatted the ball away, you get the finger, and not the middle one, but you get that big wave to come in Mutombo.
Yeah, I didn't forget about him. I just, for some reason, I came up. This is the sad thing is when I came up to this list, like I said, I already screwed up by not putting John Stockton. I should have doubled up John Stockton with Karl Malone. And so this is, everything just named for me for some reason. Everything that was in the 90s came through. My number 4, it's weird. He went chasing rings, and his is another guy that went to Phoenix of all places. And I kind of alluded to him back in the 80s. He goes to Phoenix, another team. I swear if Michael Jordan's not playing that year, this team rolls over whoever the East puts up. Yeah. I honestly thought that. Another team that was built for power. You had at that point you had Kevin Johnson, you had Dan Marley. Everything that the Phoenix Suns had that year was amazing. And then he jumps on, goes to the Rockets, and think what the Rockets had. He was playing alongside Akeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, at one point Scottie Pippen. It's crazy, and the thing is, he's the best guy. Every time I see TBS and NBA, the NBA studio stuff that he does, I think is absolutely hilarious. I love everything. And then when he comes out and he does a Nike commercial and goes, tell your kids I'm not a role model. Well, that was obvious. That should have been obvious in the 80s. But I absolutely have the utmost respect for him. And to think that he almost ran for governor of Alabama, which was even funnier. To think if Alabama was run by this guy, it would be scary. My number 4 is Charles Barkley.
Yep. The big guy, yeah. Another guy that, like you said, went chasing rings, did not get them. And I mean, Malone deserved them too, but I think Barkley definitely did. And like you said, you ran into Jordan a couple times.
And the other funny thing is that he got on the Rockets team after the Rockets had won two championships, and then turned around and got onto the Rockets the year that Michael Jordan comes back.
Yep. So, speaking of the Rockets, my number 3 is the guy in the middle of that two-peat there. Again, another guy that, in today's game probably would not have a career because they don't, use the centers that much. But I got the dream, Akeem Olajuwon in the middle at number 3.
Good pick. I like that pick.
All right. Your number
my number 3 is a center as well.
All right.
But my center went to the U.S. Navy Academy, U.S. Naval Academy, and got 2 of his champions on his own. And then turned around and gets a couple more with another power forward / center in Tim Duncan, a guy who I think played on the '96 Olympic team, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Or he might have been on the '92. That would be a center.
Yeah, maybe.
I can't remember. This is where our fans fact check us like we're politicians. But I absolutely had the utmost respect for him. My brother loved the Spurs because of this guy. I can't. And another guy, the guy who did it right, you can't argue with him. Didn't have to chase rings because the rings came to him. Absolute powerhouse because of his Karl Malone like strength, his tenacity, his everything. But he did it without pissing and moaning, as we would say. My number 3 is David Robinson. No.
At number 2, I got Robinson too. Like you said, he did it right. I mean, he went into the Navy Academy, got a couple of rings when he came into the NBA on his own, teamed up with Tim Duncan, which really rejuvenated the Spurs. That whole team there, the starting 5 should all probably be in the Hall of Fame along with their coach.
Yeah, you've got what? Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Sean Elliott, David Robinson,
big guys.
Yeah. And you've got like 5 or 6 guys you could put on that.
And a big shot, Bob Horry on that team a couple of years. Yeah.
Oh, Popovich will be in. I guarantee you Popovich will be in.
Oh, yeah, Pop is in. Yeah. You're number 1.
My number 2.
You're number 2. I'm sorry.
My number 2. Well, go ahead and put your little flashy light on there because my number 2, you sniped me at number 3. I thought of Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon was a guarantee on this list. It wasn't even a matter where he was going to go. It was just the fact is he was on this list. No questions asked.
All right. Well, my number 1, was your number 2 in the last list. I mean, he could have been number 1 on both. He could probably been number 1, in 00 or 2000, but I don't think he really played. But again, another great roundtable discussion on the greatest and what do you do, who it is. To me, it's Jordan. I can't argue people that say LeBron, or Kobe, but yeah, my number 1's MJ himself.
Go ahead. It's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 1
on both.
Yeah, number 1. Oh yeah, I had Jordan on both. The thing is, and the question is about everybody about the whole round table about Jordan being the greatest and LeBron being the greatest. They all talk about what is he in the finals, but I want what everybody needs to look at is how many Defensive Player of the Year awards Michael Jordan has and how many Defensive Player of the Year awards LeBron has, and right there by hands down, it's over.
Well, and not even that, but I mean, a lot of people are pulling out all these ridiculous stats. How many Hall of Famers did Jordan play against? How many Hall of Famers did LeBron play against? Which I think is ridiculous right now because those guys aren't in the Hall of Fame, but how many 50-point games did Jordan get? How many 50-point games did LeBron get? Everybody's just pulling out all these ridiculous. Yeah. It's getting kind of sickening, but I mean, everybody's got their own way of determining who the greatest is. So all right. So we got 3. Let's go to the 2000s. Again, I think all 4 of these lists, it was going to be hard to keep people off, put people on over others. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I'm going to stick with 3. I think
three's a good call.
All right, go with it.
All right, this one hurts me because I remember the day that he got drafted, and I'm like, yeah, woo, we got this guy from Germany. And then we traded him for this guy from Michigan. Thanks, Mark Cuban. We got trash for that guy. So it's kind of nice to see that Luka goes to Los Angeles. I feel so much better. But what can you say? This guy's probably been the only pure shooter that Dallas has ever had. And I said that after Luka. I said brought Luka up. Gave Dallas its only championship under Mark Cuban. I have nothing but respect for that German that we got for Ray Traylor. Well, and I think this was the penance for us trading for trading Starberry away to
Yeah.
for Ray Allen. I think that's the penance we had to pay for that one. My number 5 is Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah. Well, I got a former teammate of Dirk's on there. Matter of fact, might have been part of the championship team, but the guy could pass no other. I think him and Jason Kidd both kind of rejuvenated the passing game.
I didn't think about it.
Nash wasn't much of a shooter. I mean, I know he could drain them, but he was, as far as passing, went to become coach of the Phoenix Suns for a stint there. I got Steve Nash.
Well, yeah, won an MVP, I think, with Phoenix.
Yeah. You're number 4.
A good one. Holy, I forgot all about Steve Nash. I really did. My number 4, you had him in the 90s. He started really, and I hate to say this, and I apologize now. It seemed like all of a sudden he got the notoriety after he left the Minnesota Timberwolves and started. So I got to apologize. Goes and wins championships with Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. I keep saying Ray Allen, and it keeps hurting me somehow. But my number 4 is the former Timberwolf himself, Kevin Garnett.
Yep, and then he came back for a year and then called it a career. So yeah, I wish he could have pulled it off here, but All right, number 4. You have him at 5. I have him at 4. Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, he definitely, top 2 in Dallas history. I mean, Luka is going to be up there, but yeah, got Dirk there. You're number 3.
My number 3 is a San Antonio Spur. Another one of those guys that was, again, much like his former teammate in David Robinson, did everything right. This is the only guy that I know that was sitting on the bench, got thrown out of a game in civvies when he was in civvies for laughing at a ref for a terrible call that the ref called. And which is funny because this guy is probably the nicest guy you'll ever meet. But he played it right. Played another guy who played it right, played everything right down and no pissing and moaning or anything like that. Won a championship with Duncan. Great, there you go. I mean, won a championship with Robinson and that whole team. My number 3 is Tim Duncan.
Yeah, he did it right. I mean, yeah, he and everybody's waiting for him. I don't know if he's still on the Spurs coaching staff, but he was there for a moment, and I thought he was going to replace Pop there. So who knows?
He might at the end.
My number 3
of the season. He might in between seasons.
Yeah. So my number 3, you talk about Charles Barkley on TNA. I mean, these two, have a love-hate relationship, I think, on that show because they make fun of each other so much. But dominant force for the Orlando Magic. A guy who left, maybe for personal reason, but, went to the Lakers, got a couple of rings, went to Miami, got a ring. You see a lot of documentaries on him and how generous this guy is and gives back to everybody and, doesn't take no for an answer. Has, unless it's been beat, the biggest Walmart shopping spree ever when he went to Miami, I think he said. And that's one Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, I heard that, and he said that he just had it again where he tried to break it again, and the card got declined at Walmart.
Yeah. He had to call. Yeah, the card got declined the first time. He had to call, and it was like, no, that's me. I'm actually at Walmart right now buying all that stuff. So yeah,
think about that. Shaquille O'Neal's at Walmart buying stuff at Walmart. This is amazing.
I've seen many clips where he'll be at Walmart and he'll pull a kid aside and be like, "Hey, what do you need?" And kid will tell him something. He's like, "Well, go ask your parents if it's okay if I buy it for them."
But he also, and the funny thing is, he also asks if they've been a good kid and they're doing good in school. He really
Yep.
makes a difference about I make sure that this kid is minding his P's and Q's and all that other stuff. So it's, I get it. I think he got a lot of that discipline from his stepdad.
Yeah. And you know, to really get personal, I mean, when Kobe tragically passed, I mean, you could tell he was very, 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 very emotional, even with their fallout. And he says that's one big regret that he doesn't have is to make it right with Kobe. So
right.
You're number 2.
Well, my number 2, it's not C2C unless we're sniping. It's the phrase that pays. My number 2 is your number 3, Shaquille O'Neal.
All right. Well, let's keep going on with that theme because my number 2 is your number 3. One half of the Twin Towers in the San Antonio Spurs. Tim Duncan, again, who could you learn from to do it right besides, David Robinson, and then to keep doing that and become a leader after Robinson leaves. I think a lot of us would agree that it would have been nice to see Pop, Duncan, and Robinson all go into the Hall together,
right?
Which we know won't happen, but
right.
So you're number 1.
So I'm going to guess my number 1 at this point. I know my number 1. I'm going to guess your number 1. See if this is a magic trick. It's going to be premonition time.
Yeah.
We kind of hinted at it, and we've kind of brought up the fact is we've had both of us on a list. We've had players on 2 of our lists where they didn't go to college. Mine came out of high school at Upper Marion High School out of Philadelphia. We kind of just brought him up with the whole tragic passing and Shaquille's heartfelt wishes that he had gotten to reconcile like he wanted to. His passing here was a big thing too because his dad Jelly Bean played here in Italy for 10 years. So.
His dad just passed away too, right?
Yeah, his dad passed away last year. And it was hit hard here too. So and they interviewed him. They interviewed Kobe here, and he spoke perfect Italian, and it was like, and they were shocked to find that out. And he says, "No, my dad played here for 10 years." My number 1 is number 8 / number 24 himself, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say. My number 1's the same thing. That day that he passed was just
it was a kick in the chest.
There's so many different stories on who was on that chopper that that's one thing with the media. It's like, guys, you got to do it right the first time. Don't make assumptions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a big one. My phone was blowing up that day.
Mine wasn't, but mine wasn't. But I got notifications coming out the wazoo from all the sports apps that I have, and it was just I couldn't find a place.
Exactly, yeah.
I couldn't find a place fast enough to watch the news stories.
Well, yeah, when I woke up and had my first notification from a buddy of mine. He told me about Kobe plane crash or helicopter crash. I was just like, no way. And I turned on the radio and I was laying in bed there, and yep, they broke in, and that's where all the stories started on who was on there, how many people were on there. And
the wife told me. My wife told me she was at work and she told me that Kobe had died. I'm like, and I'm like, did you know Kobe Bryant died? I'm like, no, and I'm like, it floored me first because my wife's not a sports person. I'm just getting her into football, and it was like out of nowhere. It was out of nowhere. Andrea, Eliza, two of my 3 stepkids know exactly who he was. And it's like, holy hell.
Well, we got 4 that time. So let's go into 2010s here, or 2010s. 2010.
2010s, yeah, that's working. That's fine.
Yeah. So again, this list, could have went many different ways. I think the consensus number 1 is going to be up there. I think the next, 4 spots could have been all flipped around depending on who you got on there. But
let's go with the magic number 3 again.
Yeah, I'll go 3. I think we're gonna get more though, but I will start with number 5. What can you say, guys? Actually, 3 of the guys I have on here, well, 4 guys are actually head cases, and I wouldn't want them on my team with that reason. But talent wise, scoring wise, you definitely have to have them on there. My number 5 is Russell Westbrook.
You said head case, and I'm going. I know of one guy on my list that's a head case, but I don't know if I'd call the other one a head case. My number 5. I remember when the rookie card came out, and I was so desperate to have this rookie card. I still don't have a rookie card of this guy, but it was still in the old Seattle Supersonics jersey. And I remember that. I still to this day, if there's anybody watching the show that wants to get me this card in a Supersonics jersey, I'm all about it. This was a team that, if he would have, this is another team. This is a team like the 76ers. How they don't win a NBA championship still floors the hell out of me. To think about that, and this is the bigger confusion. We talked about how Sam Bowie gets drafted over Michael Jordan. How does Greg Oden get drafted before this guy?
Yeah.
Portland screwed up twice in 2 different drafts. It's kind of interesting. And you see where he's at now, and I'm talking about my number 5 in Phoenix. Won a championship, had to go to Golden State to get a championship.
Yeah.
I have a little. It makes me think that he's not he can't. He's a Scottie Pippen type. Nothing wrong with Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen got 7 titles. I'm not arguing there. Actually, I think 6 titles. Pippen got 6, but I think he's more of a Scottie Pippen type, and that's the problem. I think with OKC was that they had 3 Scottie Pippen types. They had Westbrook and they had James Harden, and they had my number 5, and I think they were all Scottie Pippen types. They weren't a Jordan type in that group, and I think that's the reason why my number 5 had to go to Golden State. We find out that this guy can't win on his own, but you can't talk. But the thing is, we're talking about talent. This guy has got talent through the roof. You saw what he did at Texas. Absolutely had talent for days and days and days. My number 5 is Kevin Durant.
All right. Oh, my number 4, I want to say, might have teamed up with Kevin Durant a little bit. As a matter of fact, I think he teamed up with Westbrook a little bit. Another guy that can put the ball in the hole, but if they're not winning, he's complaining and wants to be out of there. My number 4 is James Harden.
That sounds like James Harden. I was going to say that sounds like James Harden. They were all part of that. They were part of that OKC team that couldn't win a championship.
Yep.
My number 4, a guy who won a championship with another guy on a previous list, but I think that was where Shaquille was playing the Pippen part, and my number 4 was playing more the Jordan role. And then LeBron comes into Miami, and LeBron plays the Jordan role, and my number 4 becomes the Pippen role. This is what makes this guy a lot better. I think he ended up going to Cleveland and Chicago at one point.
Yeah, I think so.
He went to Cleveland, but I don't remember if he went to Chicago. I know if he went to Chicago, he went home because
I think he went to Chicago his last year.
Yeah, because he's from the Chicago area, but this isn't a guy that went chasing titles. This wasn't the guy that was going because he already had. Well, first of all, he already had the title before LeBron got there. Before he got there, he got it with. Did he get it with Ray Allen? Yeah, he got it with Ray Allen. Because no, he got it with Ray. He got his with Ray Allen.
Oh no, he went Miami.
He had Miami,
Chicago, Cleveland, and back to Miami.
Okay, he retired in Miami. Okay,
yeah.
I know he wanted to play a couple of years in Chicago because he's from the Chicago area, and he had just played college just up the road in Marquette. I think this guy was a phenomenal talent. You could tell that why Shaquille wanted to play there. LeBron wanted to play there. Chris Bosh wanted to play there. Udonis Haslam, Alonzo Mourning. We're talking names over names. My number 4 is Dwayne Wade.
Yeah. And the one thing with Shaq over there, Shaq came out and said, "This is Dwayne's team. It's not mine."
Yeah,
I'm just
like I said, where Shaq understood he was playing the Pippen role to the Jordan of the team at the time.
Yeah, so good pick there. Good pick. My number 3, you brought up the Golden State Warriors. This guy has rewrote the record books on 3-point shooting, training. It's just it's sickening that this guy shoots the 3 and then pretty much turns around and just starts walking back to the other side of the court because he knows he drained it. Watching some of his warm-up videos and training videos, it's a good sickening.
It is.
Unless he's playing your team and then he's dropping those 3s from wherever. You see it transform into the high school game where kids are just jacking up 3s all over the place. So credit this guy for it, but
yeah,
Stephen Curry.
Yeah. I think we brought it up in our main chat. We're going where everybody's shooting a 3, and I basically blamed Steph Curry.
Oh yeah, you blame Steph Curry, exactly.
Yeah, he made the 3. He made the 3 sexy, and the dunk ain't as sexy as it used to be. Well, my number 3 isn't Steph Curry.
Okay.
My number 3, I kind of stole from my 2000s team because this was still a guy who was powerful enough. He's still transcendent going into another decade. What did I say at the number 2 pick in the 2000s that I got to say about the number 3 pick in 2010? My number 3 is Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, Kobe. He it's going to be one of the big what ifs, coaching wise, or especially for his daughter. What if? So my number 2, I think he was. You brought him up. He's your number 5, so you got me there. I think he's the last. He was the last draft pick of the Supersonics. I think. I could be wrong on that.
He was the 5th pick. He was you mean he was the last pick ever by the Supersonics? Yeah, he was the last pick over. Yeah, because I wanted to think Serge Ibaka was, because I was thinking Serge Ibaka, but Serge Ibaka was the 2nd pick for the OKC after they had moved down.
Yeah. So my number 2 is Kevin Durant. Your number 2.
Well, it's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 2 is your number 3. I remember the first time I saw Steph Curry was in an NCAA tournament game when he was at Davidson versus Wisconsin, and I thought Davidson was going to shoot Wisconsin out of the gym. I think it was the last time that Wisconsin made the Final Four, and it was the Elite Eight when Davidson played Wisconsin. It was the last time Wisconsin had been in the Final Four, and Davidson was trying to make sure they never made the Final Four. But Steph Curry, think about that. If Seth had any of half the talent that Steph had, it would have been scary. God. Yeah. And Dell could shoot the ball out of the gym too, and that they love him in Charlotte, and it's just you can see why.
Well, my number 1
is going to make me sick.
We'll go, like I said, with another Laker, but a guy who everybody considers to be the greatest. But again, if you look at the careers between him and Jordan, I don't think there's a debate. A guy who has the talent, but had to go chase. I believe went ring chasing, and now he's stuck in LA again. With your son, you could read into all the Stephen A. Smith bickering with him. With my number 1, but my number 1 is LeBron James.
And the funny thing is with Steven said, go ahead, put it on the board. It's my number 1 is your number 1. I'm not the guy who likes Stephen A. Smith, even a
No.
little bit. I remember.
But he's right.
But this time he's right, and it's sad. And I'm looking at. I remember sitting in New Orleans for the finals in 2012, and the NCAA finals, and I've seen at this point I've seen two of these people in front of me, Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal plus Kenny Smith, because they had the whole thing in front of me, and I'm watching. We're 3 rows from the edge behind the student section of Kentucky. And my dad knows my hatred for Stephen A. Smith. And my dad says, if Stephen A. Smith's coming, are you jumping the rail? And I'm like, no. We paid way too much money for these tickets. And he's like, oh, okay, because my dad, if many people know, anybody knows my dad was at that point was not the world, didn't have the world's greatest eyesight. So of course we had to get seats that we could be close. And my dad says, all I can see is right now, all I can see is Charles and Shaquille O'Neal's bald head sitting in front of me. And I'm like, well, at least you know there's Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley. And then out of the corner of his eye, he sees Stephen A. Smith. He says, please don't jump over the rail. I want to make it home back. I want to make it back to the hotel tonight. But as for Stephen A. Smith, Stephen A. Smith is absolutely right. It's just, I don't agree with him on 99% of the things, but when that 1% is about LeBron and his kid, yeah, you can't argue with it. It makes me. I hate the fact is that I have to agree with Stephen A. Smith on something, and and I will go to the grave agreeing with him on this.
And the thing is after LeBron, and you're in the NBA for whatever reason, that's fine. You're living out everybody's dream that plays sports. I get that, but now that Stephen A. is backtracking a little bit after Bronny's little career game, is like, maybe I am wrong on this one. It's just like, come on, dude. It's one game where he scored 17 points in 30 minutes. And I guarantee his dad was fired up for that game. That's why, Brian, I didn't watch it, but
I didn't either. But didn't Bronny get outscored by a guy who played 12 minutes or something?
Something like that, yeah. And I kind of wish Stephen A. Smith would not have backpedaled a little bit on those comments
it's
just like I want to agree with you now. I just despise you a little bit more.
The thing is, you were saying bad things about ESPN's poster boy, and next thing you know, it's the poster boy said something, and oh no, it's like all of a sudden John Cena's no longer
the parent covered up for his kid. I get that. I mean,
no, I don't argue that point. I get that too, but
all right.
So
let's get into our blind five here. I love doing these. I love watching them. I actually got two, Tim. I saw one this morning that I thought I'd throw up there. So I will start. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got two. You didn't have to have two. I didn't tell you. This one, I just saw it. I thought, maybe I'll add it. But the one I first had, because we're doing basketball in this NCAA tournament, I got the top five NCAA colleges for basketball. Tradition wise, let's do that. I'll save you the heartache. I did not put Florida on there for you.
Well, they've only got 2 championships, so I wouldn't have seen them on there anyway. Oh, here comes the sick one.
I will go.
I've got
three
colleges in my. I got 3 colleges in my head, and I'm scared.
Okay, Kentucky.
Oh, that's the 4th one. I forgot about that. 3.
Okay. Kansas.
Oh, for love of 4.
All right. North Carolina.
Yeah, this is the coin flip one. 2.
Michigan State.
Oh. That's got to be 5, because if I'm going to regret this one. Go Go ahead. Say it.
At number one, Duke.
Yeah, Duke. I'm still going Duke number one. The only question I would have changed would have been Kansas and Michigan State. I saw.
Right, so
the funny thing
I'm
is,
gonna.
I saw Kansas and Kentucky at a national championship game. So
I'm gonna send you something because your 5 ranking was the same 5 I had down.
let's see.
Identical. I had Duke 1, North Carolina 2, Kentucky 3, Kansas 4, Michigan State 5.
Yeah,
and
I would have flip flopped Kansas and Michigan State. Golly.
Oh no. But I was torn between 1 and 2. Duke and North Carolina has so much tradition when it comes to college.
Yeah, it was a
Kentucky,
coin
Kentucky at
flip.
number 3. They bring a lot of players into the NBA. Yeah, I mean, I could see the argument flipping Kansas and that one. So
I thought you were going to say Michigan. I thought Michigan was coming.
I thought about putting Michigan up there, but I think Michigan State's resume was a little bit better.
Well, it's a lot better. I think it is too.
They still would have been 5.
Right.
Michigan State would have been 5 for me.
Right.
All right, what's yours?
All right. Since the WWE was just here in Bologna on Friday, and we're coming.
Yeah, how far was that from you?
I didn't go there. They were expensive. They were extremely expensive tickets. Not as expensive as WrestleMania, which is coming up soon. I decided to do finishers.
Okay.
So,
all right, let's go.
The first one is the pedigree.
God, that is dangerous. I'll go pedigree number 2.
Okay. Jackhammer.
Jackhammer Powerbomb. I will go. Yeah, you talk about the Powerbomb, right?
Jackhammer. Goldberg.
What's that? The Goldberg one.
Yeah, the Goldberg one.
Okay, he holds them up there. I'll go number 4 with that one.
Okay. The sharpshooter.
5.
The Doomsday Device.
Doomsday. I'm trying to picture it.
That was the like the Steiner recliner for the Road Warriors.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that'll be number 3.
Okay. And then the Tombstone Pile Driver.
Well, I guess that's number 1.
Yeah, I had Tombstone. I had Tombstone 1, Jackhammer 2, Pedigree 3, Sharpshooter 4, and then the Doomsday at 5.
Okay. I was kind of holding out for number 1. I'm not upset with Tombstone being number 1, but I thought maybe you would have thrown the RKO in there. That's what I was kind of hoping for because that could go any. Randy puts that on anywhere.
I could have. So. I think I've got figured out the one that the one for next week.
Okay.
It's just gonna. I think I got it figured out because I try to figure out all the iterations of it.
Yeah. So the one I saw today that I thought I had to throw up there, and actually I did put their whole list on here because I think they
screwed up.
Had somebody on the list that it was a top 10 list.
Okay.
And it was top 10 female singers. So
I think we did one like this.
What's that?
I think we did one like this.
Yeah, we did one like this. So top female singers of all time. And I'll go through their top 10, but I got 5. So I'll start off with Aretha Franklin.
1.
1?
1.
Okay.
1.
Whitney Houston.
3.
Tina Turner.
2.
Mariah Carey.
5.
Janet Jackson.
Oh yeah, we're good. 4.
Okay.
I like mine.
Well,
I like
I'll say
mine.
right now, Janet Jackson was not on this top 10.
Are you drunk?
I'm not. I'm not. So the way I have it was Mariah Carey 1, Whitney Houston 2, Aretha Franklin 3, Tina Turner 4, and Janet Jackson 5. Now here's the top 10. I didn't write down who it was from.
Oh, so we can go blame them.
What's that?
So we can go blame them.
Yeah. So number 10, Addison Rae.
Who?
Exactly, Addison Rae.
Okay, is that the one from TikTok or something?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Number 9, Adele.
Yeah, I like her.
Number 8, Tina Turner.
Like I just got a headache.
Oh yeah. You're gonna get a headache after number 7 here. Ashlee Simpson.
Who? What? Okay. not even Jessica Simpson.
Yeah. No, number 6, Beyonce.
Wow, that low? I'm appreciating. I'm starting to appreciate this list now.
Number 5, Aretha Franklin.
Oh, 5? Okay. I have this.
Number 4, Lady Gaga.
She's in the top.
Number 3, JoJo.
Who?
Yeah, JoJo. Number 2 and 1, I will agree with. Whitney Houston at 2, Mariah Carey at 1.
I'll give you. JoJo. Who did they?
Well, yeah.
And
Ashlee Simpson on here. Yeah.
You know what I got to appreciate is they didn't put Taylor Swift on there.
Yeah, that's another name that kind of, Taylor Swift. There's a couple other names, but yeah, I was just like, really saw that list. I'm like, yeah, that could be a good talker.
No Madonna.
So with that being said, final thoughts there, Tim.
Holy heck, I don't know. I feel like I've been blindsided by that list. Good luck to everybody whose lists haven't been destroyed. I guess on ESPN there's one perfect bracket. I want to talk to that person, to be honest.
No, there's none now.
No, it's not. What? Who?
Yeah, I think after the St. John's game, I think
really
there was no perfect brackets.
Wow, St. John's was the guy. St. John's was the linchpin. No, I'm glad we got to doing this. Like, we're back after over a month. It's
a few weeks off. Yep.
Yeah, I think we're going to do what you brought up last week for our show next week.
Yep.
So
yeah, we'll do movie actors and actresses. Pay homage to Gene Hackman.
Yep.
But with that being said, yeah, keep checking us out. Of course, C2C Rankem, Morning Tailgate, or not Morning Tailgate, On Deck, Entertainment Hour, Between the Ropes.
The draft from Green Bay, which
the draft is coming up with Tim and Chris.
Yeah.
That'll be fun to see how many times they can say this guy should go here. And
I figured it out. I figured out who the guy's going to be this year. It's going to be Colston Loveland out of Michigan.
I think, it'll be interesting to see that one. But I think the kid from Colorado State, Hunter, I think is going to be another interesting one. The two-way player.
To me, I've been watching a lot of that stuff, and I think it's hilarious that it should be. I already have the first 2 players locked. Who should go where? And if I were Cleveland, if you listen to me, I think you'd have the greatest defense of all time.
Yeah.
So anybody wants to take the Browns.
To me, one guy's not going to make your team if you're drafted in the top 5. I would trade it, but that's just me.
But the thing is, if you draft this guy and you put him alongside Myles Garrett, I think you've got the greatest defense in the world.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully they're listening. So, what other shows we got? We got Callan's late
Callan's
late night.
18 shows. Callan's got 18 shows. If he, he's got them.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of NCAA coverage after round one.
You got Dragon Vipers stealing our stuff show.
Yep.
What do you guys do?
With that being said,
I got a question.
What's up?
When are you guys doing that whole? When is the one show that we used to do on Fridays and stuff about
Kicking it?
That one, yeah.
I don't know. There's the talk. Yeah. We'll have to put that message in the chat. See who wants to do it. Kind of like a round table thing, but tomorrow, if anybody watches wrestling, AEW is in town here. Me and my son will be there.
You're gonna live stream it?
I wish. That would be sweet. But we'll be sitting on the floor where they walk out. So there's a chance we'll see this big chrome dome.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to try to. If you can live stream, I make this promise, and I'll make this promise on Facebook and everywhere else this is on. If you live stream from AEW, I will live stream from the Olympics.
I'll see what I can do. I don't know. I don't want to get caught videotape. But we will be sitting last row where they walk out. So it'll be first row where they walk out to their right. There. Me and my son have a busy couple weeks of wrestling coming up with AEW, Raw, and then independent Midwest All-Star Wrestling. I
saw you in the MAW one.
Yep, at the mall.
Yep.
Yeah, how could you miss that?
I think I saw you in that. I think there was another one I saw you in too.
Yeah. So, well, with that being said, we'll see you all next week on C2C Rankem. Have a good one.